Isn't it wonderful today to be Father's Day? You know, I've been looking up and down the roads this week, and I looked and I found out something very important. People don't go out for Father's Day like they do Mother's Day. I've been questioning that all week long, and I've asked some very smart people why that is. And one lady told me it's because the mother has to have the child. My wife says it's because they have to change the diapers. And another one told me that they have to watch after them. But I got news for you mothers. If it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have any children. And I think fathers ought to be just as important as mothers. Fathers, stand up, would you? Let's give them a big hand all over this church today. We appreciate it. Come on, ladies, you can clap better than that. We appreciate you and we love you and we thank the Lord for you. I got a message in just a little bit I want to preach about you. Some of it you're going to like, some of it you're not going to like. But a father is very important to the family. If he's playing his role,
come on now.
Let's sing. Somebody touch me. Many years he walked in darkness as he rode along the way, with his hands outstretched for pity, for just a mind to be. It's a story of a blind man who met Jesus on his way, and with the master's touch, the man looked up, and the stormers heard him say, "Somebody touch me, somebody touch me. I would like the praises that I now can see. I'm only darkness when Jesus found me, but since He touched me, I now am free." One day he touched a crippled man, and he made him walk again. Then the master saw with pleasure that his labor not in vain. Like the story of that crippled man, I was once found sin, but when the master came, things that went on now can say, "Somebody touch me, somebody touch me." Oh, hallelujah. I would like the praise that I now can see. I walked in darkness when Jesus found me, but since He touched me, I now am free. Oh, I walked in darkness when Jesus found me, but since He Amen. I want to preach to you this morning on God, our Father's Day, God's man. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse number 11. It says, as you know how we exhorted and comforted and charged every one of you as a father doeth his children. Brother Alfred, would you stand and pray God's blessings upon this message? Today is Father's Day, the day we honor our fathers. And we think about different things about him that makes him a standout. We think of all of his manhood and all the good things that the fathers have done. But now I realize that there can be a lot of different kinds of fathers. You can be a professional man, or a lazy man, or a woman's man, or a music man, or you can add most any title before that man to the list. But I suggest that if you're God's man, then you're a real man. A man that people look to. Even though there's a lot of people who think that if you're following Jesus, you're something less than a man. But I believe a real man follows the Lord today. Amen. But I'm convinced that it takes a real man to be a man to follow the Lord. Therefore, if you're a real man, then I hope that you're also God's man, and you're the subject of my message this morning. Can you remember? I want to take you back a little bit. Can you remember when men and women, or men was men and women was women? And you could tell the difference. Oh, help me today. I was in the mall one day and a couple walked by. Now I saw them from the back at first, and I honestly couldn't tell which one was the man and which one was the woman. You see, one of them had long hair and had earrings, but that wasn't the woman. Can you remember when men initiated the relationship and made a long-term commitment? And created an atmosphere of stability and security. I'm not talking about the Rambo talk who walks in a room and demands respect because of power and authority and fear that he may put in you. But I'm talking about the Archie Bunker type who sits in his living room and barks out the orders and demands respect by intimidating his wife. I'm talking about a real man, God's man, the kind who is not ashamed and willing to be God's man wherever he is and whatever situation might be, he's still going to be God's man. Verse 11 says, for you know we dealt with each of you as fathers deal with their own children. What Paul is saying in that his ministry with the church in the Thessalonians was very much like being a mother and a father to them. He was there to help them. Think about that. We're brothers and sisters together in the church, and our relationship within the family of God is similar to the relationship that we have in our homes. God's man ought to be a loving man. First of all, in verse 8, Paul says that God's man is loving. To be loving don't mean that you're a wimp, like some people say today. He says, we love you so much that we're delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well. A real man of God is not afraid to be should you help your babies? Do you remember how nervous she was? The woman was there, and I mean, they were very careful to tell you how to hold the baby. Hold his head at the back and support it, and that we need to be sure to cradle the baby's body in our arms just right. Tommy rot. Then there's this doctor that came in and grabbed the children by the leg and flipped him over and flipped him back this way. Said, you don't have to worry about it. You're not going to hurt him. We've done got all those directions from Mama that tells us how we're supposed to hold him. There's something special to see a dad who cares about his children. And think that it's exactly what Paul was trying to tell us, the bonding experience that can take place between the father and the children. God's Father is a transparent Father. Paul talked about the preaching the gospel of God. Then he says we share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well, because you have become so dear to us. Father, is important for us to communicate the love of God in the way we show love to our children. We was at a place the other day and I almost had to hold Sister Alice. A lady just reared back and slapped the baby in Walmart right in the face. But it's one thing to tell your children that you love them. But it's another thing to show them that you love them. Because one place where we're real at is at home. You can be one person when you go to work. You can be another person when you come to church. And another person in society. But when you go home and take off your necklace and you kick off your shoes and you become whatever you really are on the inside of your home, and your children are watching every bit of that. You can say, I'm a child of God. All you got to do is watch that child and ask him, what kind of life does your father live? And whether you want to believe it or not, they're going to tell you. We've got a children's church, and the children's church are back. But I promise you one thing. If you got a child back there and you done something wrong, they're going to tell the children's church director back there in that church this morning. You may say, oh, preacher, it ain't that bad. I guarantee you it's that bad. When you become transparent, whether you want to or not, I wonder what the kids see when Dad becomes inside the four walls of their house. Serving God's just not in church, folks. It's when you go home and when you leave to go to the grocery store. You got to be a good dad all the time. Somebody stop in front of you. You can't say that bad word and throw up a finger. That's not godly. I'm here to tell you what you are is what you are. But if you've been bought by the blood of the Lord Jesus Christ, you ought to be the same yesterday and forever. Amen. After the funeral of an elderly man, a couple of his friends from the church were sitting around the kitchen table. You've seen the scene so many times. Visiting his 4 grown children. And one of them asked, what do you remember most about your dad? And all 4 of them began to tell the memories. They remember their mom and dad kneeling beside the bed, praying together. Not partying together, praying together. Not getting drunk, praying together. My God, you can get drunk if you want to, but when this world is over, you might get a rude awakening. But I'm here to tell you, they prayed together. So I remember that every night. That was memory number one. One of the men said, do you realize how special that is? And there's so many children who never ever see their parents kneel and pray. What they saw is their father that looked inside was a man who not only talked about God. We got a lot of people talking religion today. They don't know what it is. They don't just talk about God. They live the life. Man who left their legacy for his children, picked up on it and adopted it for their lives, and they adopt things that you do for their children, and they watch you because they're transparent. Transparent means that children can not only see the good things about us, but he also sees some of the negative things about us. I know a lot of you here today may say, well, I'm perfect. In your own mind you are. But not in the eyes of God. You're not perfect. It's important that your children see that because they're in a learning experience, they watch you. They watch Daddy. What Daddy does is what children do. So a man is transparent to his family who allows them to see him laugh and be happy. And they also see that dad cry. It's not unmasculine to do that. They should see us deal with stress and anxiety in life because our world, Brother Taylor, is filled with that. You can hide it if you want to. You can act like you don't care, but you do. They should see us agonizing over decisions that makes because they have to make the same decisions in their lives when they get older. They'll learn how to relate to the opposite sex as they watch you deal with their mother. How else are they going to learn? If you beat her up, they're going to beat their wives up. If you slap her around, they're going to slap your mom around or their wives around. They learn how to handle failures and how to handle finances. God knows some could use a little help with that. Finances. They learn how to handle all the things of their life simply through watching you. Amen. So a real man, God's man, is transparent. I dreaded to come today and preach this message. I almost decided not to preach a Father's Day message because my dad's gone. Paul says that God's man is a hard working man. Yeah, that left some out. Surely, in verse 9, you remember, brothers, or toils and hardship, we work day and night in order not to be burdened to anybody else. Amen. But in this day and age, I read more and more about irresponsible fathers, lazy fathers, and fathers who will not assume the responsibility of their families. I paused for a minute and I thank God that I had a father who taught me how to work. Amen. Brother Johns, who passed on a legacy of values and things that I can lean on and trust on. Paul said, you are witnesses, and so is God, of how holy and righteous and blameless you are among who believe. Now, all those words are spiritual words that Paul was saying, when we're with you, you were holy. You can't find anything that wasn't holy in their lives. When all was righteous, we taught you the truth. We didn't teach you anything that was false. You was blameless. You could point at anything, and we did, and we said it was wrong, and we did that was right. They were holy. They were righteous. They were blameless. All those words dealt with spiritual attributes. I'm sure, fathers, you realize that God has given you a responsibility of being the spiritual leaders in your home. I will stop here just a minute. Mothers, I love every one of you. And I don't want you to get mad at me. But if you do, you do. See me after church, I'll ask you me to forgive you, and I will. But fathers, it's your job, not mama, to be the leader in the family. I wonder if God hear the ladies. It's father's duty to be the head of the house. Thank you. That makes me feel better. It's not up to the ladies. You have a spiritual responsibility to be the head of the house. Now, I know, Sister Roseanne, there's some families where the man can't do that. He's weak. He's spineless. If you turn things over to him, you lose everything you got. But that's supposed to be his responsibility. Therefore, it become a lady's responsibility instead of a man. But I'm here to tell you that doesn't change what the Word of God says. God's words teach us that as men, we are able to be spiritual leaders in our home and teach our children about God. Many would hang their head and feel a little guilty about that because you probably failed to do what you're supposed to do. God's man is to have a positive influence on his home. Paul talks about treating children as a father deals with them, and then in verse 12 he says, encouraging, comforting, urging you to live life worthy, or God who calls you into the kingdom of God. There are all positive words that he says. We're going to encourage you, we're going to comfort you, and we're going to urge you, and there's got to be a plus word put in there. Brother Charles, it's got to be a positive word. It's possible, Dad, that we could accomplish a lot more by being a positive influence in the home rather than always being negative about everything. Paul was saying to us as men of God that we need to be a positive influence in the home. Amen. You know, I've always been sort of funny being around the churches as long as I have. These people that says, I'm going to give you one more change. I tell you one of the best ones. I'm going to count to 10. Or your mama will get you when she gets home. That's not positive influence. Why do you have to count to 10? My dad never counted to 3. If I done something wrong, he'd grab me, Brother Keith, and whip me right then and there. With no counting. If he'd give me the 10, I could have straightened up. He didn't do that. We need a positive influence. Hopefully, a lot of time, He's dead being there to encourage and lift us up and mold us and fashion us into the kind of people that we need to be. To be genuine and transparent before them is to work hard, to provide for them, to be enthusiastic, to be holy and righteous before them, to be a spiritual leader in the home. But more than that, to be the kind of positive influence that would set their feet on the right path and cause them to be the kind of people that God would expect them to be. I would like to reflect just a minute if I could. My dad in his early 40s come down with angina. It was a condition of the heart that when he came down with it, they didn't have any operation for it. The doctor told Dad that he had to quit work and that he could not work anymore. Anybody knew my dad? He was working. He wasn't lazy. He was a worker. He worked all he could. But it was going to take so long for him to get our money started for us to live on. And I seen my dad at C.W. Murphy Ford was right where the Sphinx station is now. But they would take cars home and clean them up and buff them and make enough money to feed us. I seen him many times as I walked out there. And he'd be sitting down on a 5-gallon bucket. He wasn't able to. He'd work a while and he'd go to the mailbox and he'd have to sit down before he could get back to the mailbox a lot of times. It was so bad. But he provided for his family. And I thank God for it today. I remember when I started preaching, he bought my first suit of clothes. I've said it before, a green suit. It might not have been pretty, but I preached it. My dad was a hero to me. He's gone. Been gone 14, 15 years, 16 years. But when I was getting this message ready last night, I felt like he was right there, Brother Taylor beside me. I don't know how many of you in this building today, your dad's gone. Would you raise your hand if your dad's gone? I want you to bow your head. I have a moment of silence in honor of those dads. All Dad ever wanted was his children to live for God. Amen. Would you stand? This morning, I don't know what kind of life you're living. Somebody said, oh, he's bad. He did this and he did that. Well, I got news for you. God said he would forgive every sin. And you got to too. This morning, as they play and sing, whatever they want to do. I want every father. If you don't want to come, you don't have to. I just want the fathers to make your way to the front of this church. And let's line up across here. Come on. Every father that will. Hallelujah. Brother Charles, come up here with me. Come up here with me. Hallelujah. I want you to join hands. Let me tell you something, mothers. There's some good looking men up there, including the preacher. You ought to be proud. I don't see, I don't see many ugly men up here at all, man. Most of them are nice looking men. Let's give them a big hand, would you? I'm going to ask Brother Charles to pray a special blessing on you today. Because I know when it's all done and said, your family's going to make it. Because God is directing your path. And if He's not, you need to start right now. But before he prays, I want every mother and everyone that will come and let's gather in behind these. Sometimes trouble. Sing it, son. Hallelujah. Sometimes it takes days. Come on, I'm gonna wait on you. Come on, mamas. You don't have to have a husband here to come. Just come on. Hallelujah. Praise God. You praise so stronger. Sing it. That would ever troubles me. Praise the Lord. Sometimes it takes a mountain. Hallelujah. Glory. To trust and believe. Almighty God. We represent the fatherhood. Hallelujah. I pray for the blessings of God upon each household that is represented here today. Glory. We realize, Lord, that one of the greatest attacks that's ever been given glory, hallelujah, was upon the family. It began in the beginning of the history of the humanity. And it's not but ours. There's a division in the home. There's bitterness in the home. There's dishonesty in the home. And Father, we're raising a generation that sees nothing wrong with what's taking place in the home. But I pray, Lord, for myself. And I pray for each home that's represented here. That there would be a move of God in our home. That we as fathers would look at the role. And we'd look at where we're leading our family. Let us display the love of God. Let us reveal the forgiveness of God. And let us love as God. We ask this morning in the name of the Father, the name of the Son, and the name of the Holy Ghost. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Praise God. Jesus, lift your hands in this worship, God. Hallelujah. Worship God. make us realize who we are. Did you realize how blessed you are? Did you realize what God has done for you and has blessed you? Not a one of you came in this morning with an oxygen mask on. You may have a time getting in, but you got here. God's been good to you. I know a lot of churches won't have church tonight. We will. We'll be having church tonight. Come and the Lord will bless you. Let me say, fathers again. Mothers, take them out somewhere to eat. You may say, well, I cook for them. Well, they've eat you cooking before. Take them out somewhere to eat. And not to McDonald's either. Take them somewhere good. Tell them today. I wish I could tell my dad. But you love them. Because who knows? Some of you that are here today may not get to be here next year. Don't ever know. Be back to church tonight. God bless you. Happy Father's Day.
Father, we just worship you and thank you for the service. We thank you for the way you worked in our lives, Lord God, and strengthen and encourage, Father. Lord God, in the house of God, I pray that you would just help each one to let our light shine forth, Father. In Jesus Christ's precious name, amen.
You are so stronger than whatever troubles me. Sometimes it takes a mountain to trust you heavily. Sometimes it takes a mountain, sometimes to trust